welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. Part 2 of the Maloney wine reviews. I did part 1, part 2 the can wine, part 1, part 2 Maloney wines. I try to keep them as short as possible because I know the attention span out there is very minimal. So much going on, so much out there in the internet and everywhere else. We have many distractions. I know you don't want to watch these for a long time. As I mentioned before, I went on a little bit of a thing about Josh Maloney. I love the guy. He's a great winemaker. Had a stint at St. Michel, a stint at Milbrandt. Now he's doing consulting and his own label, which he's done now. I think these are 4 vintages of his. We did 12 and 13 in the last episode. Now we're doing 14, 15. These are single vineyard Cabernet Sauvignons. You don't see a lot of wineries do that. And then he's also coming up with a single appellation series of cabs at a lower price point. So very ambitious. Glad he's doing well. I interviewed him. I put the link up on the last one at the San Juan County Fair. He's done a couple of events for me. He's a great guy and very knowledgeable. So let's get started. These both rolling at $45 retail. This is the Maloney 2014 Single Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon. The vineyard is the Dionysus Vineyard, Columbia Valley. This is part of the Sagemore Vineyards area. Very famous vineyard. Here is a label. There you go. I believe Josh is an old soul. He builds his wines in a more of a old world style, and so you have to kind of use your kind of wine savvy to determine how they're going to do. I mean, really. So this is 2014. Not my favorite vintage from Washington, but not the worst by any stretch. I think probably the toughest vintage in the last 10 years, let's say, is 2011. That was a very difficult vintage, but a lot of those 11s are coming out tasting really good now. Let's see what we get on the nose. Lots of oak. I get huge amounts of oak on the nose. There's almost like almost like a dill pickle component coming through, which I find kind of intriguing. A little bit of a dill pickle thing coming through. I get a little burn from the alcohol. This is, I think I noticed it right off the bat, it is 15.5 alcohol. Once again, a very meaty component coming through, a little bit of meat marinade coming through. Yeah, let's see what we get on the palate. Woo! I don't think I'm going to have any nose hairs left after that one. This might be one of my favorites yet. Probably because 14, I think a lot of the wines were ready to drink right off the bat. Solid core of currants and tobacco coming through. Very structured, a little closed, but it still shows the fruit. I get a little bit of a black plum component coming through. The oak is there, but it's well integrated. Smooth tannins. Also very meat driven. This is closer to raw meat than cooked meat, but very meaty. I don't know how to, a little chocolate, like chocolate cake component coming through, but without the sweetness, if that makes any sense to you. I feel there's layers in there of this wine but they're not fully expressing themselves. So I get a little bit of a dark flower, like a wilted dark flower, like wilted rose petals, like the towards the black rose kind of thing coming through. There's a solid licorice kind of spine underneath, front to finish, with that kind of chocolate cake without the frosting, just the chocolate cake element coming through. Once again, this is seriously young wine, but it's very approachable now. Not as spicy as the past two, which kind of surprises me. I'd be curious to ask Josh. He probably goes under the back label, but it's a little too small. I don't want to waste your time reading it. Very solid wine. More drinkable than the last two now. I think the Elephant Mountain went through a dump stage. I think I told you that in the last episode. We talked about that, how it's going through a little bit of a dump stage. This is not a dump stage, but this has great aging potential. 10, 15, 20 years easily, but I would drink it now. You have a steak with this. You have any kind of a grilled meat, spaghetti, anything like that would be excellent. Solid wine. Get a little heat on this in the back end, but I think the alcohol is well integrated. I don't feel it burning me in any sense on the palate. A little bit of minerality, and I love the flowers. I love the flower component coming through. I'm going to go A, straight up A on that, hedging towards A+. Solid wine, very solid wine. 45 bucks, that's a steal. I'm pretty sure that's what he told me he's going down to on his wines. He went from like 65 to 45, which is excellent. I know a friend of mine that buys a lot of his wines told me that he's very happy about that as well. So that's pretty cool. Let's move on. God, those red flowers are just hanging in there. Long finish on that baby. This is the 2015 Maloney Single Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon Finney Hill Vineyards out of Horse Heaven Hills, Washington. 45 bucks. Now 15's turned out to be a pretty good vintage. I'm excited about 15. I think 14's been hit and miss with me. Not with the Maloney wines, that's for sure. And I think I said this in the last episode, but Josh is a friend of mine. I'm trying to review his wines as objectively as possible. Sometimes that friendship can hinder you a little bit. I try not to. In fact, if one of these wines were crappy, I might not even put the review up. Just saying. But I'm being honest. I try to review wines as honestly as possible. I'm just saying. Just clearing the air here on that one. Let's see what we get on the nose. A lot of tar on this one. I mean, like heavy amounts of tar. Like you blended tar and a little bit of roast beef together. I get a little, there's definitely a dark red flower component coming through. And tobacco. All right, let's see what we get on the palate. Wow. Whew. You can feel the alcohol in this one, for sure, but it's not off-putting to me. It's certainly not like a 16.5 Zen out of Lodi, California, but it's definitely got some heat to it. But that being said, I get currants. I get a little bit of an oatmeal characteristic coming through, which I find very interesting. Tobacco, tar, maybe hints of chocolate. There's definitely a kind of an oak tannin, grape tannin grit on the back end. Getting a little bit of a, well, that red flower comes through on the backside. Little lift from the acidity, which I like. Little gives it kind of a high tone in the mouth on the finish. This is like making my mouth water. So it is hot. And the alcohol content is 15.6. 15, straight up 15. But it's integrated enough, you feel it, but it doesn't leave a burn. I just get that kick on the mid-palate, kind of that heat on the mid-palate, but I think overall it's pretty solid wine. And once again, 15 to 20 years, easily. Easily. That meaty, I get a little bit of bark coming through. And again, once marinade. Once again, I'm going to say it. Josh has made some really old world style wines in the New World. I mean, they are very Bordeaux-like. I know Bordeaux's are blends, but these have that same kind of characteristic of a serious Bordeaux maker who is wanting his wines to age. And those times have changed. Times have changed. People are now making wines that can drink now. Josh is making wines that need to be cellared for a while, which is really cool. And I don't think it's a risk. I think we see a trend going back towards that, where people are making old style wine. A little bit hot for me. No, let me retract that statement. I can feel the heat, but it's integrated enough, and I think it will blow off with a few years of aging. Solid, solid, solid wine. Both of these are solid wines. And I'm not saying that because I like Josh. These are really good wines. I just said that other thing because I want you guys to know that. I mean, you know, I think we're all human. I think we have tendencies here or there. I don't owe Josh anything. He doesn't owe me anything. I think we'd stay friends even if I panned his wines. I believe he would. Josh is a pretty honest guy. But this is very solid wine. My only issue with it is I can feel the heat. It's still warming in my back. So because of that, I'm going to go B+, A- on this wine. I think it will, like the other two that I reviewed in the last episode, will probably end up being AA+ wines. The 14 is stunning. I mean, right now. Just saying. Subscribe to the channel. If you like what you're watching, please subscribe. I appreciate it very, very much. I'm getting more and more subscribers. I love it. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Take a little time out of your day. Follow me on Twitter at @StanTheWineMan. On Instagram, StanTheWineMan. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.